Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bar Bettable. Wait, did I say Bar Bettable? Maybe I did, because we got Hodska here today. We also got Holmes. I honestly don't know whose episode this is going to belong to. I may just make my own little section, but we got a little crossover episode in honor of college football starting. Well, really starting. But we're going to talk 8 games today, 8 of the biggest games. We're going to give our picks. And then at the end, we will break down who each of us think will make the playoffs and inevitably make the run to the championship. So with that being said, Holmes, we spoke earlier this week. Hod, what was your takeaway from the FSU loss last weekend?
I enjoyed it very much, probably as much as you guys did. It was great having college football back, and obviously, like, seeing Florida State lose in the fashion that they did was very cinematic. After all the complaining and whining that they belonged in the playoff, then got killed by Georgia, then lost everyone, still thought they were going to be good, and then got smacked around by Georgia Tech, who just ran the ball all over their throat. Yeah, it was good. I wanted more. I hated that was like the only like somewhat competitively like ranked game of week 0. But I mean, it's perfect that it kicks us off into this week, which is going to be incredible.
Yeah. Holmes, how you doing, buddy?
Hanging in there, hanging on by a thread right now, bro. I'm feeling like dog shit all day. I don't know what's going around my work right now, but everybody's sick as dogs. Came down with it too. We're just powering through today, dude, because week 1 of college football, I can't go down for this, dude. I can't.
You can't, brother. You can't. Are they going to let you stay home tomorrow? Maybe
No, I
they
don't
let
think
you
so.
grind
It's
from there.
not that bad. I'll probably get to leave early though, because I don't think we got a whole lot to do tomorrow, but we'll see.
All right.
I got a nice little half day tomorrow, and for the 3-day weekend, it's going to be fantastic. This is one of my favorite weekends of the year.
Dude, Labor Day weekend, there's nothing better than the start of college football. I cannot wait. Fuck it, boys.
Yeah. My weekend's going to consist of watching college football, drafting fantasy leagues, and going on a boat, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I have about 3 drafts left still, so we haven't even gotten to the bulk of the drafting schedule at this point.
I have my first one in 2 hours.
Oh God. Here's what we'll do, Hot, is if it runs a little long, we'll start doing the draft.
Should be chilling.
Yeah, we'll be done. Oh, look who it is. We didn't even know he was hopping on today. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, welcome Jack Braverman to the episode if he decides to turn on his mic and unmute his phone. Jack Braverman, welcome to the club.
We go.
What's going on, fellas? Sorry I'm late. Dude. I never got the text that we were on air.
That's all right. But I mean, we really didn't do much. We just kind of introed it, and then I was like, "Hey, Hod, what do you think of FSU?" So, Beav, what did you think of FSU?
Oh man, I probably watched about the first half.
Okay.
It was, typical DJ Wegalele. You know what you're gonna get, and that's just a whole bunch of nothing. So, I mean, Georgia Tech had some dogs on defense. And it looked like they were humming on offense. And look, I mean, I knew they were gonna have a chance. Maybe I'm biased. I probably am biased, but I'm not high on FSU. So yeah, it was phenomenal. Great to see the guys from FSU go all the way out to Ireland and come back with a big fat L.
Even better to watch their fans do it too. Even better, man. Sure. Beav, honestly, perfect timing. We were literally just about to hop into college football. So without further ado, let's kick it off with the first game we're going to talk about. We already got games going down. We're going to hit it with Saturday, though. Clemson, Georgia, the 12 o'clock game on ABC. Georgia favored by 13.5. Over under set at 48.5. Hod, let's start with you. How are we feeling about this game to kick off the year?
It's going to be a good one. Probably the game of the weekend in terms of like ranked matchup wise. 1 versus 14, neutral site in Atlanta, even though that's basically a home game for Georgia. Um, I don't know. I think Georgia will win. There's a lot of factors in the game. I don't know if ETN's going to play just because of the DUI rule that Georgia has, where he has to sit out the game after he gets a DUI, he obviously got one in the offseason. So he's a kind of a TBD, and I know their second string running back Rod Robinson's out. So if ETN doesn't suit up, they'll be on their third string running back, but I don't really think it matters too much. I just think Georgia's one offensive line is a lot better than Clemson's defensive line, so they'll win the trench battle. And that goes for both ways. Georgia's defense is just outstanding. I think Beck will have a good game. I think Georgia could easily win this by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. I'm definitely going to hammer Georgia in this game. That 13.5, I mean, that feels too easy, especially given how Clemson's kind of fallen off the cliff the last couple of years. So, yeah, hammer Georgia plus the points. I mean, it is what it is. And like you said, it's basically a home game. Holmes.
Throwing it to me.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. I mean, I'm with you there, bro. You got to take Georgia minus 13.5 here. I mean, I'm not going to make it an official play. That is definitely the way that I'm leaning, though. I mean, dude, just last year, Georgia was probably one of the best teams in the nation, and they missed out on the 14 playoff. I think you'd be a fool to not think they're going to come out hungry as shit this year. I think there's just going to be, no pun intended, absolute dogs on defense like they always are. And Clemson, like you said, the past couple of years, they've been slipping. Dabo Swinney refuses to acknowledge the transfer portal and utilize it and be able to fill certain holes in his roster that maybe he can't get through high school recruiting. Clemson lost 4 of their first 8 games last year in 2023. Cade Klubnik was way worse on the road than he was at home. Like Hod said, this is basically a home game for Georgia, bro. Like, I really, really love the dogs in this game. I think Clemson can maybe keep it close there in the first half, make it look like a game, but I feel like second half, man, Georgia's going to come out just guns ablazing. I'm right with Hot. I think they can win this game by like 3 scores.
Beav, let's send it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, well, first, Hot, I didn't even know that Georgia had the DUI rule because, I mean, we'd all figure that they wouldn't be able to field a roster.
I know.
But you get the Bulldogs at Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. I mean, the last few years, it's game over as soon as you step on the field. Though Clemson ain't that far away either. And I know Hart was being critical of Klubnik, but the guy was a stud in high school, 5-star. I think he's got, a chance to prove himself. Dabo sometimes is, he's hit or miss as a quarterback whisperer, but there's been a lot of hits. I just don't, ACC team lacked the depth. Georgia coming out swinging, lost to Bama last year in the same building. Yeah, I want to be a fly on the wall in that Kirby Smart pregame speech.
Yeah, that should hit.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
wild.
I think Clemson's I think 2 of their starting receivers are also like true freshmen. At least that was like the report of camp. So I don't know if the chemistry between Klubnik and them have already developed, but I think they're just gonna get
They're gonna
absolutely
get curb
cooked.
stomped, Todd. Let's just call it how it is. Clemson's not Clemson anymore.
Now, I do want to bring up a point.
Uh-oh.
Is Dabo on the hot seat if Clemson has a bad year?
I
He
feel
just
like
signed like a bad contract.
yeah, he's
recently.
untouchable.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but these college buyouts, anything can happen.
That's true.
Yeah,
But
I don't think so.
I think the university owes him so much from turning that program into shit.
Yeah.
Into like what, 2 national championships, maybe 3. I forget how many he actually has. Like, I know it kind of sucks right now, but honestly, I think it is a big reason Well, I think the biggest reason why he is not succeeding like this is the name of the game in college football has changed, bro. Everything is revolving around NIL and the transfer portal, and Dabo's not really willing to adapt to that style.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Yeah.
the old school way can only get you so far. There is going to have to come a time where somebody's going to have to step up and be like, bro, you have to do it like everybody else is doing it, or we're just going to keep falling behind.
Yeah. What they have like 0 portal additions or something like that. I think they were like the
Pretty
only
much.
like FCS team or FBS team with no portal additions.
I heard the only other ones were Army and Navy. Like, they're not going to take transfers because they're the Army and the Navy. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
That's wild.
Clemson, that's crazy.
That
They
is a
won't
wild
do
stat.
wild.
Yeah,
God's name,
that's
image, and
unreal.
likeness.
All right. Penn State, West Virginia, Penn State favored by over under 40 and a half, or over under 51 and a half, excuse me. Beav, let's start with you. Who do you like in this game?
Where's this game at? Happy Valley?
This game is in
Morgantown.
Morgantown.
West Virginia.
Oh, it's at West Virginia. Wow. That's interesting because obviously Penn State is the perennial eighth ranked team in the country in the preseason rankings, and they stay that way until they play Ohio State and Michigan. This is not Ohio State or Michigan. I
Okay.
think Penn State, covers.
All right, Holmes.
I honestly kind of float the other way. I for some reason I really think West Virginia is going to cover this game and keep it close. I would honestly, Braverman, like I would not be surprised if Penn State turns it up first game of the year and actually tries to prove that Drew Aller like has the deep ball passing ability that they said he had coming in, and last year did not put that on display whatsoever. Wouldn't be surprised if they do that, but my gut feeling I think there's like an 80 or an 85% of chance of rain in this game. I think it's going to be a very big grounded pound defensive game. Both these teams can run pretty well, and Penn State beat the shit out of West Virginia last year at Penn State. I think West Virginia is going to look for a little bit of revenge here at home. I mean, I'm just excited to see how the battle in the trenches are going to go. Like Penn State's offensive line is always dominant. You know that they
Mhm.
like absolutely know what they're doing up front. Defensive line as well. Those guys are some game wreckers over there. But West Virginia, I think they're one of the most experienced offensive lines in the entire nation. Like all the guys on that line have a ton of combined starts. So having that experience is going to be really valuable. They open up a lot of shit in the run game, and West Virginia can keep it close. Like, who knows? What if they even pull out an upset win week 1 at home? Damn, that would be something.
Odd.
Yeah, I think this is the game that we could see like another like last weekend where Georgia Tech upset Florida State. I think this could be an upset in terms of West Virginia not only covering but beating Penn State outright at home. I'm just not a believer in Drew Aller. I don't think he's the right QB in that system in the James Franklin like whole scheme. Um, I don't think that they're that good on offense in terms of receiver depth either. Their offensive line, like Holmes said, is produces probably top 5 linemen in the league. They just reproduce every year.
Yeah.
Their run game's always solid. Like he said, it's gonna rain. I don't know too much about this West Virginia team if I'm being honest, but I also sneakily like the under in this game too.
Mhm.
But I think West Virginia covers.
Under would be a great pick.
Yeah, Hot. I'm kind of with you. I'm going to hammer the under in this game. I really do like Penn State. I think that they could be a really good team this year. I do think they're going to need time to find their footing. But I think West Virginia, if they stay strong on defense, they pound the rock, they overcome, a lot of the Penn State hype. I could see them upsetting, but I don't see it being a blowout on either side. So the under's there. Now I want to take it to Illinois State, Iowa. And mainly for one thing, I know it's not a good game, but I want to point something out just as a better. Iowa's currently favored by 22 and a half. I don't think they put up 22 points in a game last year. So I'm going to go ahead and just let everyone know that one of the freest plays of your life is Illinois State plus 22 and a half. So that's all I had to say about that game. I will open the floor to you guys if you have any takeaways, but that I just wanted to get that out there.
I mean, this game is just so ugly. I mean, like every Iowa game is just ugly in general. But this game is especially the first game of the year. I don't even think they've named an official starting quarterback yet on Iowa. I know McNamara is still there, but I know that it's gone down to the wire between him and some other guy on who's going to start for the on Saturday. So
Mhm.
this game is just ugly, ugly. I as a better, I want to stay away from this game, but I'm also like so tempted to take the over because it's so little points. But I fall into this trap every single time of like, why the hell am I thinking about taking an Iowa over? Uh, so yeah, I don't really know.
Beav, Holmes.
I thought McNamara was a lock. I don't know. I'm sure we'll see him take the first series on Saturday, but yeah, this has got to be a lock for Iowa, and I do think they cover because I couldn't even tell you anything about Illinois State. Couldn't tell you where it is. Couldn't tell you what their mascot is. Couldn't tell you if they're even in the FBS.
They are.
Okay. Are they in college football, the video game?
I don't know.
Definitely not.
Then that's an L for me.
Yeah, I don't really have much else other than to pile on what you said, Mondo. Like until Iowa shows me anything different and shows me that their offense is actually capable, I'm gonna take a no-name team to keep it within 22 and a half. We're just gonna roll the dice on this one.
Yeah, and by the way, with this new Big Ten, right? I mean, you're gonna see a lot more offense. Iowa's just gonna get outdated real quick,
Mhm.
and they're just
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
fall to the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it could be really tough to watch,
Yeah,
fortunately.
Did they
Well,
hire a new offensive coordinator in the offseason, or
I think they did. Yeah.
yeah, they
Yeah.
did.
did?
I don't think it's
It's
gonna
got to be an
matter, but they
improvement,
We'll
right?
did.
You
see.
can't.
um, B, speaking of college football 25, let me introduce you to FCS Midwest. We have South Dakota State taking on Oklahoma State. As we've seen, the FCS Midwest is an ass kicking machine when it comes to playing them in the dynasty leagues. Beav, I mainly wanted to hear from you if they had a chance this weekend against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, well, I think the bellwether game is tonight with North Dakota State, right? If North Dakota State goes out there and puts on a good performance, it's going to light a spark in their neighbors down south, and I think they have a real chance to, maybe not win, but keep it close, and that's enough for bettors out there.
For those of you who don't know, I throw in some filler games just to fuck around a little bit. So that's why we're wasting a little time.
That's a
Do
bad
you
one.
guys actually have any takeaways for this game ahead of time or no?
0.
Oh, I do.
Hod, all right, Hod,
Let's go.
what's up?
Yeah. As someone who has profited last year a lot of money on betting random ass FCS games, South Dakota State, they're back-to-back FCS champions. They are on, I think, like a 30-game win streak or something like that. They're returning like their entire team. Although Oklahoma State has Ollie Gordon and probably one of the best offensive lines in college football, I don't know. This game seems like very sketchy to me. Like, why is the line only 9.5 when it's at Oklahoma State? South Dakota State paid a lot of money for this game in terms of playing like FCS versus FBS. And why is the line only 9.5? Something it just seems fishy about that. And I actually like this South Dakota State team to win the FCS again, go back to back to back. And I think they cover. Call me
Yeah.
crazy, but I think they cover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
with you
wouldn't
on
be
that.
shocked, honestly. If it's such a weird week one this year, it feels like there's so many moving parts in college football these days. I wouldn't be shocked to see an upset in this game wholeheartedly. But back to the real games. The next one, number 7 Notre Dame, number 20 Texas A&M. A&M favored by 3, over under 46.5. Holmes, kick it off this time.
I mean, this is going to be one of the best games on the slate this upcoming Saturday. I'm really, really excited for this one being prime time at 7:30. I
Mm.
mean, Notre Dame, Texas A&M. I feel like this is a matchup we never really get to see, especially week one. This is going to be awesome. Kyle Field is going to be rocking, dude. And honestly, like I really do like Mike Elko as a coach. I mean, I know he hasn't coached a literal game yet for Texas A&M, but I really like what he did over there at Duke. I think he had a 16-9 record, two back-to-back 8-win seasons with a Duke program that is not very good. Him coming to Texas A&M, getting all these resources, and now playing against the quarterback that he had at Duke and Riley Leonard, is playing for Notre Dame. Call me crazy, but I like Mike Elko and the Texas A&M Aggies to get it done in this situation. I'm sure you guys have heard. I'm sure somebody will touch on it. Notre Dame's offensive line. I don't know about it right now. They're gonna have, I think, a couple of freshmen starting on that line. Very inexperienced. The talent that Texas A&M has on the defensive front, especially Nick Scourton, that guy might feast in this game. So I really like Texas A&M here. I like him to cover. I love the under. I think it's going to be a rock fight defensive game. But this is going to be a banger. I'm excited to watch it.
Hot.
Yeah, Hart said it perfectly. I think being at Kyle Field, home of the 12th man in college football, Manziel on game day, so he'll be at the game.
Yeah.
Mike Elko's first game, like Hart said, against his former quarterback that he had under his wing for 2 seasons. He probably knows him better than anyone.
Mhm.
I just think it's going to be a defensive masterclass for A&M. I think they pull it out pretty convincingly too. I don't think this Notre Dame team is worth being the 7th ranked team in the country right now.
Beav.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if I were a Notre Dame fan, I would be scared. Like, there's no other way to put it. Week one, going into hostile SEC territory, Kyle Field. It's gonna be tough. Hart, you mentioned no offensive line, no Joe Alt to protect Riley Leonard over there, whose season last year ended pretty short with a brutal leg injury. But yeah, I mean, this is a tough situation for Notre Dame. You look at a team who you know needs to prove themselves every week by the quality of their competition and their quality of their wins. And I'm a big Marcus Freeman guy. I don't mind Notre Dame, but this is a really tough situation to be in.
Yeah, bro. I mean, Notre Dame, it's the same thing as Penn State. It's a perennial bottom half of the top 10 to start every single year. It's
Granted,
still not going to be their year, though.
their schedule isn't that difficult.
No,
This might be, one of their 1 or 2 losses of the year.
yeah,
They'll make the playoff, but
I definitely like Texas A&M in this game, and I also kind of like the over at 46.5. I'm going to have to sleep on it, though, because frankly, I hope both these teams burn in hell. So I really don't care, but that's where I'm sitting. Next up, we have the kickoff classic in Vegas. USC, LSU, number 23 versus number 13. LSU -4.5, over under 64.5. Who wants it first?
I'll
like
take you.
I was gonna say, someone take it.
I mean, this game I think for me was one of the hardest to have to pick on the spread this weekend. I really don't know what to expect from either side. I think the only thing that I feel kind of confident in is both of these defenses last year were not good. They
Mm-hmm.
gave up a ton of points, a ton of yards. I mean, I think I would be crazy to think that they're just both magically going to get that much better in game one of this next year after they were so bad last year. So I'm taking the over in this game, plain and simple. I think these teams are going to go down the field, probably score 40 on each other. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier for LSU, I think is going to be a pretty capable QB this year. Miller Moss, we saw in the bowl game for USC, looked pretty good. I mean, we'll see what these guys got, and they're
Mm-hmm.
pretty much first season starting for their respective teams.
All right, Hod.
Yeah, I like USC +4.5 here in this spot. LSU, they probably have the best O-line in college football this year. I think they have two like surefire like top 15 picks, and like two of the best offensive tackles probably in college football this year. Granted, I don't think we've seen enough of Nussmeier. He was sat all last year behind Jaden Daniels. He played in the second half of the bowl game and he looked all right. But then again, he also was throwing to Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, who are in the NFL right now. In terms of USC, obviously they lost Caleb Williams, but Miller Moss, I think in that game, in the bowl game, threw for what, like 400 yards and 6 touchdowns in one
Yeah.
pick. Like he looked electric. He looked like a solid replacement in terms of losing Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick. Lincoln Riley's development at quarterbacks is second to none. I think he'll have his team ready. I know they got a new defensive coordinator, and I know that's where they struggled a lot last year. Again, I think this game's going to be like a high-scoring shootout. It's going to be probably from a neutral perspective the game of the weekend, just in terms of points and action, just watching from on TV. I just think this game comes down to a field goal. That's why I'm taking USC
Nice.
plus
All
the
right.
points.
Beav?
Yeah, I agree. This is probably going to be my favorite game on Saturday, one that you have to tune into just because it
Sunday.
seems so
Sunday.
evenly
It's on
matched.
Sunday,
We
brother.
This
saw-
game's Sunday night.
Sunday night.
Stand alone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Either way, I'll be watching. If it was on Saturday, I'd be watching too. But yeah, I just feel like these teams are so evenly matched, right? We saw what they did last year. It feels like they just lost all the pieces they had last year. Miller Moss, I mean, just the name alone, that guy is Keaton Slovis reincarnated. So we know he's going to throw some touchdowns, have some action on that end. LSU, man, you look at a team. First of all, they're just bigger up front. That's just how it works. They're bigger up front than USC is. Brian Kelly coming off 2 great seasons. I mean, if we're being real, 10 wins in the SEC is no joke. But then, you're playing on the road and week 1, there's always going to be some bonehead plays, some mistakes early. And yeah, like Hod said, I think this is, going to be a high scoring game that ultimately comes down to, a field goal or something less than 7 points. So, gosh, I'm going to take LSU. LSU minus 1.5. I'm just feeling it.
I feel you, Beav. I've honestly been flip-flopping all day. I'm going to settle into USC plus 4.5 as well as the over in this game. Everyone in the nation's going to watch it, and these teams are going to show up and perform. So I am going to hammer it, and I absolutely love the matchup. We're going to skip
love 'em.
Boston College versus FSU. That was mainly just to shit on FSU again.
It was close last year.
It
I
was.
know.
You
It
never
was
know.
very
You never know.
close. It could happen. It could happen. But the main reason why everyone fucking tuned in today, I mean, we got UF, Miami, the battle of the badasses in Florida. Fuck FSU. Who wants to kick it off? I guess we'll start with Beav on this one. Beav, break it down for us.
Give me the line.
The line, I
Miami minus
believe,
2.5.
2.5.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, look, you got 2 teams that are, kind of on the same development arc. It's hard to tell who's progressing better. Look, you got a Miami team that just spends a ton of money and recruits well, but they don't perform well. And the same could be said about Florida. This is Napier. This is year 3 for Napier. So the time has come. We all know the schedule that's ahead of Florida this year, and the only thing that means is that they have to get out and start winning early. Last year, week 1 at Utah on the road, there were some bonehead plays in the first half that just cost them the game. Just lack of discipline, just not being on the same page, not being not coming out the gate swinging. I think playing in Utah probably played a role in that. But now you're at home at the Swamp against Miami. There's no excuses. This is Graham Mertz's team. It has been since it's been his team for 2 years now. You got a lot of new pieces on offense and defense. Especially in the playmaking area. I think we have 2 or 3 freshman receivers. So yeah, it's just going to be a matter of how well Graham Mertz can manage the game. And because we know on the offensive side of the ball for Miami, it's going to be a real struggle with the crowd, and that's that's going to be a real problem for them. They're not used to it. They play at Hard Rock Stadium in front of 15K, but yeah, I do like Florida, obviously.
Florida money
That was a
line,
long
book
take.
that
That was a long
shit.
take, but this is the highlight of the show. So
Florida
sorry.
money line, book that shit. I don't need to talk about anything else. Hot over to you.
Yeah, I obviously am going to be betting Florida money line. Probably a lot of money on Florida money line. And pray to God that it hits. But I do think we're going to win this game pretty convincingly. It's a show me year for both these teams in terms of their head coaches. I mean, Cristobal recruited very well out of the portal. I think they have 17 new additions on their team. Cam Ward obviously being the most like high profile recruit. And look, he could easily like have a Heisman type year, and especially in the ACC. I think this is more important game for Florida to win, whereas Miami could easily win the rest of their schedule and make the probably like a 3 seed in the playoff and winning the ACC. I think Florida has to win this game. There's been so much slander on Florida because of their schedule and can Napier win under pressure, yada yada yada. I think being at home in the swamp week 1, hopefully Montrell Johnson will play. I know that Napier said he's pretty iffy. We kind of need him to play.
Yeah.
But I just think that Miami will have a rough start with all the portal additions not being on the same page. Cam Ward not being too familiar in the offensive system, and he's never been in a stadium like the Swamp, prime time for Saturday. I love Florida in this matchup. Yeah.
Holmes.
I agree with everything you guys have said. I took Florida plus 110, took Florida plus 130. We're all over the money line, boys. We're all over. I think we can win this game 100%. There's a couple things we definitely need to do to make sure that we win this game. We have to play disciplined defense. Got to make your tackles. You got to create your pressures. Cannot make any boneheaded plays. Can't take the stupid penalties. Play a solid disciplined defense. Just play better than we did fucking last year. Because last year we were garbage.
Any year.
Offense, the offensive line just needs to hold up. Give Graham Mertz a couple of seconds to get the ball out. Miami's defensive line has been touted as probably one of the strongest in the ACC. So they're going to be coming after Graham all day long. We are going to need to hold up on the line. The crowd is obviously going to do its thing. It's the swamp. What else? I love Florida here too, man. I mean, I think this is the opportunity that we have right in front of us. We need to seize it. I mean, this is a perfect chance to be able to prove that we are on the right trajectory. Need Napier and the boys to come out hot.
Yeah. I'm adding Trey Wilson anytime touchdown scored in my card as well
Attaboy.
this weekend.
Attaboy.
Love that. Love that.
All right. Hod, we'll send this over to you. List your 12 teams that will make the college football playoffs plus your national champion.
I think, well, with the top 4, I think Georgia wins the SEC. I think Oregon wins the Big Ten. I think Clemson wins the ACC. I think some weird shit happens where Clemson wins it. And then the Big 10 or Big 12, sorry, I think Utah wins that. Then after that, obviously you have your guarantees like Alabama will be in there, Ohio State will be in there, probably Penn State, Texas. I think Notre Dame will probably be in there just because of their cupcake schedule, especially down the stretch. So what's that? 9 teams. I need 3 more. I think like a random Power 5 school. I think Liberty is like the betting favorite to be like the 12th seed and sneak in. I think they're the favorite to go undefeated this year in terms of betting, in terms of their line. So I think they could sneak into the 12 spot easily. I think Ole Miss is a sleeper team this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a run and get to the semifinal of the college football playoff. So I like them a lot. I actually have a future on them to win. So you never know with them. And then I think there's one spot that's kind of left up for grabs. That's like who's going to take it. I think Michigan can easily get in there. I think that Missouri, especially how they played last year, can get that spot. LSU. I just have a weird feeling I think it's going to be, what conference are they in? I actually like Kansas, and I think they get in as the
Okay.
11th team.
Nice.
So I'm gonna go. I got Oregon, Georgia, Ohio State, Utah, Alabama, Clemson, Texas, Notre Dame, LSU, Michigan, Penn State, and then Florida.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Nice.
And I have Oregon winning it all, but Florida might make a run. Holmes?
So probably gonna go. Really no particular order. I like Penn State to make it, Bama to make it. I have Miami. I have a future to win the ACC, so I think they're gonna make it. I love Hod's pick on Ole Miss. I think they're a sleeper out of the SEC. I think LSU will make it. Brian Kelly will keep it consistent. Notre Dame, I think, will get in. Utah, I think, will win the Big 12. And I think Memphis is going to be the G5 team that's going to get in.
I like
All
that
right.
pick.
Thank you, sir.
Take it
Yeah,
away.
I think Georgia wins the SEC. I think Ohio State wins the Big Ten. I think Utah wins the Big 12. Welcome. And then after that, yeah, I'm gonna go. Texas has got to be in. Oregon's got to be in. Bama and Ole Miss is not even a sleeper. They're just loaded. Um, gosh, after that, I don't think Michigan falls off too hard. I still think that you're gonna have a decent year. I do like. I think Kansas State is gonna make it.
It's a good
What is
pick.
that like? What is that like 6 or 7? Throw in Penn State. They'll lose 2 games. That's good enough these days. Um, gosh, I'm inclined to say Missouri, and then just finish out my list with just SEC schools because I do think what's so funny.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share with everyone you know. We'll see you on the next episode. If this cuts out, Beav, keep going.
Maybe Oklahoma. Who knows?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.